If we want to stop getting captured by health propaganda, whether it's conventional medicine, alternative, Germanic New Medicine, AI-generated health information, one skill matters more than any other, and that's the ability to notice when information comes with an agenda. Nature makes no mistakes, and your symptoms are no exception. Welcome to Mind Over Symptom, where we uncover the deeper pattern. At this point in our post-COVID world, trusting the experts is obviously not a serious thinking strategy, but neither is automatically trusting the people who oppose them. And neither is swallowing Germanic New Medicine claims without knowing whether the argument being made actually holds up. Bad reasoning is everywhere. It's in hospitals and medical clinics. It's all over wellness culture. It shows up in freedom circles. And it absolutely shows up in Germanic New Medicine discussions, especially when we drag our old mechanically deterministic paradigm of biology into a framework that's supposed to put the psyche and the nervous system in the center. So if we're going to use Germanic New Medicine to take responsibility for our own health, we need a filter. We need a way to reject bullshit before it scares us, shames us, confuses us, pressures us into actions that aren't good for us, and pulls us out of our own sovereignty. What I mean is, we need to stop becoming helpless victims of someone else's opinion about how we should be taking care of our health before we devote precious attention to whatever they're offering. Because every day we're exposed to messages that are meant to persuade us. And I'm talking thousands of messages per day. When it comes to health, persuasion comes in the guise of secret, amazing new findings and revelatory information that Big Pharma doesn't want you to know. This is a sort of a costume of helpful information, but there's actually very little information there. And there's a lot of feeling stuff, words meant to dramatize whatever the health matter is, with victim and rescuer stories and breathless exclamations about miracles, or with straight-up scare tactics. So spotting health bullshit means noticing when we're being informed versus when we're being managed or persuaded or controlled. It means noticing when someone's actually making an argument versus when they're pushing a conclusion, telling us to accept something as a fact without allowing us to use our own brain to really think it through first. Spotting health bullshit means discerning whether someone's actually examining evidence or whether they're manufacturing fear, urgency, authority, tribal loyalty, or dependency. We want to be able to ask, is this helping me face reality more directly? Do I feel clarity about what exactly I need to correct in my own psyche in order to move forward in a direction that matters to me? Or is it using fear, false certainty, confusion, shame, or determinism to push me away from my own authority? Do I feel a need to get help from this source because I can't move forward on my own? In other words, is this information increasing my self-trust or is it lowering it? Now, to be good at spotting health bullshit, we don't have to be hyper-vigilant and analyze the crap out of everything we see and hear. We don't have to become cynics. We definitely don't have to become experts. All we need to do is notice when we feel a need to be rescued. Because health bullshit is any health messaging that positions you as a victim and pressures you into dependency. It's not trying to increase clarity, it's trying to move you. And the way it does that is usually with fear, urgency, authority, shame, overconfidence, false cause and effect, black and white thinking. And I'm not just talking about wackadoodle conspiracy theory webinars about new amazing discoveries that Big Pharma doesn't want you to know. I'm talking about bad health information that can come from conventional medicine, alternative medicine, and GNM. The issue is not the source of the message. The issue is the structure and the effect of the message. That's all we really need to concern ourselves with, because once we notice how a message is affecting us, we've got the filter of how to spot health bullshit. Now we can let probably most of those thousands of messages a day just float on by, not affecting us in the slightest because our radar's on. And to do this, we don't have to be hypervigilant all day long. We just need to notice when a message has changed our state. When you're reading or listening to any kind of health information or advice, whether it's from a GNM expert, an oncologist, a coach, anyone at all, really, notice how you're feeling. If you feel afraid, confused, ashamed, devalued, angry, rushed, helpless, that's the moment the filter needs to turn on. You don't have to spend your whole day acting like a lawyer, cross-examining every headline, parsing through every little piece and questioning it all. You just have to notice when something health-related suddenly makes you feel crappy, like confused, frightened, ashamed, angry, desperate, whatever. That's the moment to flip on the bullshit filter. What you're going to do is, in that moment when you flip on the filter, is you're going to ask, is this informing me, or is it just trying to manage me? Is it trying to make me behave a certain way? Is it trying to make me do something? Once that radar pings, once you think something might be health bullshit, how do you actually analyze what this expert is telling you in order to decide where to go next? Well, you don't need a philosophy degree, but it's really helpful to know the main logical fallacies so you can be able to ask yourself questions like, is this using fear or other emotions instead of an explanation? Is this treating correlation as cause? That's a big one in conventional medicine, by the way. Is this making a false binary? It's either this or that. You're either with us or you're with the terrorists. That sort of thing. Is this leaning on authority instead of evidence? That's a big one in Germanic New Medicine, by the way. Is this oversimplifying? Is this assuming I'm a victim of something external? Now, I love learning about logical fallacies because I like imagining myself crushing various experts with my towering logic. There's a site I love. It's called yourlogicalfallacyis.com. I've got the poster, and I like just hanging out there exploring the different fallacies and trying to sort of apply them so that I can win mental arguments with other people. It's my fun time. But anyway, what I want to reiterate is we don't have to master formal logic at all to be able to spot health bullshit. An average 4-year-old does it instantly and instinctively. We spot it by noticing how we're feeling, what the message seems to want from us. We're feeling a pull or a push, and whether the reasoning actually holds up. What is this expert going to do if I ask them why? Or if I tell them, I don't believe you, what's going to happen? How about a few examples? The biggest, most obvious one, at least for me, because I used to have panic disorder, is the fear pattern. This is scary, therefore this is true. Or this is emotional, therefore it's true. Or, we can't know if it's true or not, but we can know that doing the opposite is really scary. In conventional medicine, this usually comes in the form of, if you don't do this, that, and the other thing, you're putting everyone at risk. Alternative medicine would put it like, if you do use this, that, and the other thing, you're poisoning yourself. And the GNM version of this would be something like, if you had this shock, then you're going to develop that symptom and those changes in your body. Another really common form of health bullshit is the appeal to authority pattern. An expert said it, therefore it's true. Trust the science. This famous natural health doctor says that Dr. Hammer said that. Well, no, it doesn't make sense, but Dr. Hammer said it. So it's the law. False cause and effect. It's not only another major form of health bullshit, it's also a major form of bullshit in news media, public education, the justice system. This is the correlation equals causation fallacy, and it shows up like, this happened, then that happened, therefore this caused that. People with this gene develop breast cancer. You were exposed to black mold, and now you have digestive problems and skin issues. Therefore, you have mold poisoning. You have an ovarian program and your mother passed away last year. Therefore, losing your mother was a profound loss conflict for you, causing your ovarian program. The last type of health bullshit type or pattern I'd like to mention is what I'm calling false binary. It takes the form either you accept our model or you are reckless, stupid, in denial, not a true GNM person, not a good, either you accept our model or bad thing. Devaluation. Either you treat this aggressively or you're neglecting your health and you're going to die. Either you detox fully or you are choosing illness. Either you accept the 5 biological laws of the Germanic New Medicine, or you are a shill for the evil deep state medical reptilian overlords. Just kidding. Well, not totally kidding here. Even when we discover the 5 natural laws of healing and really study the Germanische Heilkunde, it's so common to carry the same old mechanical determinism into our thinking. So, instead of being a victim of germs, genes, toxins, and so on, now we become victims of shocks, bad events, or our own body, brain, and psyche. That might have GNM language on it, but it's just as much health bullshit as anything else that makes you feel like a victim of your own existence. For example, fallacious GNM would say, my symptom happened because my mother-in-law said something shocking to me. Correct GNM would say, I made a biological conflict in my psyche because of the meaning I made about what my mother-in-law said. Fallacious GNM might say something like, a separation program involving the ectodermal skin is a touch separation conflict. Since you have hair loss, you must be missing the touch of your dog whose head you would stroke, or your mother who would stroke your head. Correct GNM would say, since you have an ectodermal skin program going on in the active phase, you are currently making meaning in your psyche that physical contact at that part of the body either should be happening or is happening and shouldn't be happening. Fallacious GNM might say something like, if you just find the DHS, the symptom will go away. You solve it and the symptom's gone. Correct GNM would say, the biological conflict is something you are doing in your unconscious mind. It's a conflict between a state of being that you desire to attain and an experience that goes along with that which you are resisting because of the meaning you have made about what it means about you. When you can receive the biological conflict in your conscious mind, it is no longer unconscious and the conflict is resolved within your psyche, then you will need to continue making the unconscious conscious as you complete the healing and the epicrisis and move on to your new evolved state. Now, I've been a Germanic New Medicine person for 24 years. I'm always heavily critical of almost all health information, so it's relatively easy for me to spot health bullshit because I've been training myself to go looking for it for a long time. But I do want to point out that almost all of it, conventional, alternative, and GNM-related health bullshit, all of it is fallacious for the same reason. It's mechanically deterministic. That's the culture we're living in. That's the paradigm of civilization at this time in history. It's a paradigm that says we are meat robots. We are passive victims of genes, germs, other people, bad events, and our own biology. But that paradigm is breaking down because, as Dr. Hammer discovered beginning in 1981, and as people all over the world are waking up to, even without knowing anything about the 5 biological laws, we are not just physical objects. We are the originators of the physical patterns that we call psyche, brain, body, and symptoms. Your psyche, that's the operating system of your biocomputer. Your brain, that's the biocomputer itself. Your body, that's the biocomputer hardware. But you are not the psyche, brain, and body. You are the user of it. And you're the originator of it. You are building and using this biocomputer. Fallacious deterministic health messaging aka health bullshit, says you are the victim of your body is the victim of the world, and therefore salvation comes from the outside. And this reasoning, to the extent that you accept it, is separating you from your biology. That separation, it's the existential isolation at the core of every single biological conflict that you create in your psyche. When you start filtering that health bullshit out, you can start feeling what's actually going on in you. You can start seeing what actual meaning you're making about yourself and others and life. And you can start reconciling to actual reality instead of this victim crap that the whole world has been hypnotized into. I am so over it. What the 5 biological laws give us, if we really understand them, is not a new deterministic story. It gives us a different point of leverage entirely. My psyche's not some alien force happening to me while I stand helplessly by, trapped in this horrible situation being done to me. My brain's not the boss of me. My body's not betraying me. These are instruments of my life, which I'm constantly recreating in every moment. If I cut my finger when I'm chopping a cucumber, did the knife cut my finger? Did my hand cut my finger? That's the kind of weirdness we create when we speak as though our body, our brain, or our psyche are doing stuff that we don't like and they were just passive victims of our own biocomputer. No, I cut my finger, and now I am going to heal the cut. I've taken full credit. So let's stop talking like we're victims of our own selves. And once we can do that, we can solve the existential isolation and we can attain real wellness. This has been Mind Over Symptom with Lishwi Springford, where symptoms are not the enemy and you are your own authority. For more, visit mindtreehealth.co.